Hello and welcome to the Racetech Euro V8 SuperCar Series live on Apex Racing TV. We are gathered here today to host the media day for Season 7 of the Championship. Myself is Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me this evening is Marco Barbonet. And Marco, a little bit of change, a few new drivers, across a new calendar, a few tracks that we probably haven't visited before, but on the most part, it is the same cars, much the same drivers, it must be said. And hopefully that's can only be a good thing, because I'm sure we're going to be in for another fantastic season of this championship.
I am so happy, Sam, to be back. Hello everyone. Hello, Sam. Yes, like a bit, some changes here and there, but it's the good old Euro V8s, and they are absolutely back, and that is fantastic. And I am really waiting for this new season, and of course the changes in format. Small changes, but changes for the better, I might say. And the new sponsor is on board, and I really cannot wait. Media Day will show off what this series is all about. So thank you for joining us, and let's see who is going to come out on top. And of course, biggest moment, you will see me embarrass myself with the brand new reverse grid wheel that has been, child of the mad minds of Sam Kumo and Clyde Whiting. So yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to have 3 races tonight: a sprint, a super sprint, a sprint, and a feature. And as you can see, qualifying is underway with George McClay now on the camera, going home, safe and sound in the pits. And let's see Tony Klusterman, which no one picked as possible race winner. Sorry, a possible title winner, but he's happy about that, he said, because he is not feeling the pressure now.
Well, I hope he put himself as championship winner. Explain, it's a competition now in the series that us, the commentators, and also the judges have put their top 5 in the overall standings at the end of the season. And if you win, you get a Racetech t-shirt. So I'm very interested in that. I also actually added my top 5 in the club championship and said, if I get that right, then I win the store, which would only be right. So
That's
I've got
that is
a
one
very...
way to lose a sponsor straight away, you know. So.
Thanks for Racetech, by the way. They design race seats in real life. So I imagine plenty of the cars you've seen in real life motorsport have probably got Racetech race seats. So very much thanks to them for kind of funding a lot of this series. This series, and they also do some sim racing products, or are going to. We'll keep you updated with that as the season goes on. But thanks a lot to them. The qualifying just coming to an end. They can complete the lap time that they've started. Jamie McKnight. How terrific. Is it great to see Jamie McKnight, Belle Isle Race 2 winner of Season 5, Marco. One of the best races I think we've ever commentated on in this series. And he's always thereabouts. Not the best qualifier by any means. But in the races, he just always seems to, clutch at straws and gets the points in. He was a championship contender for much of the championship in Season 5, and it's great to see him back today.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, we have a very nice field. Of course, this being media day, this is not. I think we're having already a couple of drivers that said that they are going to be back for race 1. But I think that it's still a very strong field, and Sebring is a unique track that I think it's really hell with this kind of race cars, because you have lots of bumps, and these bumps are very hard to deal with any car, but especially with a V8 supercar. So I think we're in for a fantastic night of racing, as Jimmy McKnight on your screens right now is on a not very good lap. He's going to bring the car home regardless, and I don't think he's going to improve.
No, 2/10 slower. and his personal best. Did have a couple of um green sectors, but nothing spectacular to improve his position. Of course, yeah, 15 minutes for this first race, a super sprint. Super sprint's a little bit shorter than they were before. That's a noticeable change, actually, the race format. The races are now timed, not laps, timed, because after the shenanigans that was Bathurst last season, when we accidentally went on for about 45 minutes longer than we usually do, I think it's down to a time now, which will be a little bit more confusing, and it's not quite as easy for us commentators to say there's, 15 laps. Instead, there's 15 minutes and a bit, of course, to complete that
Look
final
at
lap
that
that the
Marshall.
leader will start.
Sorry if I interrupted. Look at that Marshall frantically waving the flag to no one in particular. Uh, as the qualifying session is over, yes, I really like the new format, I have to be honest with you. As you can see, also we have new colors for the classes, which hopefully didn't get switched around. Should be black for the overall and white for the club. You also will see those numbers, sorry, those colors on the banners on top of the cars. And I think, Sam, we can go through the starting grid for race 1.
Yes, and I've said this a few times. Tony Kloosman on the pole position, quarter of a second ahead of George McClay. Guy Croft, a good qualifying for him in third, with the returnee, Jerry McKnight, in fourth. Good to see a debutant, Juan Pablo Tanoni in fifth, with Anthony Woodward in sixth, and McKnight starts in seventh, with Maciej Kuziak in eighth. Then it's Samuel Buzan in ninth, Clyde Whiting in 10th. Then behind that it's Lane O'Connor, Claire Mason, Peter Bingham, Andrew Hoffman, Bobby Charles, Michael Frost, and then hopefully we'll see the likes of Taliancic, Janssen, Moons, Galit, and Antonia all on the grid. They did not set qualifying times though. So is this a 2-minute gridding up process? I
It
believe it
is.
will be. So we have got a little bit of a while to discuss what is going to happen in this. So it's pretty hot out there, Marco. 33 degrees and could get a little bit warmer. Maybe we'll make an impact with these V8 supercars.
Yes, absolutely. Tire life is always important. Of course, we are not expecting a stop in this first race, but still, you want to keep those tires, as nice and tidy as much as you can.
Well, here we
So,
go. So
oh, yeah, sorry, I thought it was a rolling start for whatever reason.
well, here we go. Starts off the media day. Tony Kloosman gets a fantastic launch. George McClay can't be said the same as Gaycroft moves up into second position. Jamie McKnight will also be pressurizing down into turn one. And maybe
Oh!
McClay might be round. And there's contact between second and third. Does a fantastic job there of Gaycroft to minimize the damage. Going through all of them is Tononi. And now McClay has had a big off. Sorry, that's Hoffman, I think. And we've got 4 cars involved in that one. Hoffman and Charles and Galit and Moons as well, all getting involved in a big crash straight from the start. But no problems for Tony Kloosman whatsoever. Croft has somehow managed to regain second position. Somehow avoided the skating George McClay in that first corner. And now McKnight is trying to get past Tononi as well. He looks down the inside into the hairpin, and Tononi leaving him plenty of room on the inside. Nice driving there. So he drops down into fourth place. Woodward is in fifth, and McClay down into seventh.
Yes, I thought there was some contact, but now after watching the replay in my mind, I can tell you, I think that he went wide on his own, did McClay there. Also, you see Clyde Whiting went a bit wide at the hairpin. It is, certainly an interesting start to the season, 15 minutes, and then we'll have a reverse, as we have the snake of cars going through. And now, of course, we will have to get used to new liveries, so it's going to take a while, I think, to get used to it. Sam doesn't have this problem, of course, but
No, I downloaded the livery pack.
you know.
I'm committed to this series, Marco. You know, I'm a changed man. Yeah. But anyway, Tony Kloosman 2.5 seconds ahead of Guy Croft still. And, well, Tony does sometimes make mistakes. He's a very aggressive driver, can often eat up his tires, but in a 50-minute like this shouldn't be too bad. Losing a position there is Adam McNally. Claire Mason, fantastic start up into 7th place, but back comes McNally and also Buzan. Great to see Buzan back in the Assyria Racing car team. And he's going to try to pressure down into turn 1. So difficult to defend into turn 1. Such a wide berth there, but Mason does a good job. And up into 7th position. Very good.
In the chat we have series veteran Dave Jansen telling us he's not racing because it's too hot. Which, I mean, Italy has been very hot, and sorry, France has been very hot. I don't know where Dave is from, but you know, hopefully he has some valid reasons, because you know, unless the temperature is above 35, you have to drive.
Really getting close in the background there is McClay to Woodward. Good to see Woodward out there. Has done a couple of races, I believe, in this series before, but never really properly applied himself to... Oh no, sorry, of course Woodward is a veteran of the series. Apologies to Anthony. Found clearly getting mixed up with someone else, but there goes McClay past. As wide goes Buzan, loses a couple of positions, might even make contact with an XVR driver there. That was Lane O'Connor, but Buzan down into 10th position. Now under pressure from Kuziak as well, sorry.
Yeah, Kuziak, you know, a name that we haven't heard in a while, and also, you know, sporting a classic livery. It reminds me of the good old days of the championship. Look at the GTL livery. It's very, very, you know, it hasn't changed a lot since, you know, the early days of the championship, at least the early days of my commentary on this championship. White and red, as he's putting Lane O'Connor under pressure. I think Lane O'Connor is missing something on his car. Oh, it's Hoffman hard into the wall there. Now, you know, I have to be very, very careful tonight, because Andrew Hoffman told me I can say his name only 3 times, and I already said 2. So
what? So he doesn't get cursed or something?
Well, you know, especially abroad, the Marco Barbanera fan club is getting bigger and bigger, and it's usually the drivers' wives or partners, and they are getting jealous, apparently.
Oh, right, okay, apologies, yeah. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. McKnight coming under pressure from Tononi. He's having a fantastic debut out there. Just a little bit of a mistake from Croft just up the road. But still not under too much pressure. McClay, of course, got past Woodward. And also got past McNally earlier on. So, and he's now within 1 second of Tononi. So this is going to be a nice battle between these 3. Maybe even throw Mason in there as well, because Mason's doing Woodward's trying to keep up as well. This was what happened to Hoffman, already a bit of damage to that car. The power, I think, of that V8 supercar, lost it very late on there, man.
Yes, you can see that he was missing the bonnet already, and that was a big off there, and I think he will have to wait. Of course, the rules for this championship, you need to be on the lead lap to be eligible for the reverse grid.
Buzan's going to have to muscle his way around the outside here of Adam McNally.
Oh, and Gary Croft is around.
In the wall. He made a mistake at the hairpin, and now this is going to be problematic for the other cars. Just about getting past there, and well, very fortunate. Croft a little bit dangerous back onto the circuit, but I think he's got terminal damage, and Gary Croft is certainly going to be out of this one. I think this is what happened to him. Is it just the power again, or has he got over the curb? Nah, it is just that power, and heavy into the table.
And look at that, because it also created a little bit of a slowdown in this pack of cars. McNally, Buzin, Whiting, Kuziak and Bingham, and look at them jostling for position. Going very wide is, I think that was Bingham for Vulcan Racing, the new team. Also Clyde Whiting is a member of the team, as you can see from the livery. as Clyde moves around Sam Buzin as we move back to the front because McClay is on the inside of Tononi and makes the move. So he's up to the podium spot. So we have Klusterman, the comfortable lead over Jamie McKnight, George McClay, Juan Pablo Tononi, and Anthony Woodward, who is also your leader in the club championship race. You should see a white banner on top of his car. Hopefully, you know, one thing that I despise about this racetrack is that we are in Sebring and the cameras are in Daytona, if you know what I mean.
Yes. I ought to get my hands on these cameras. Honestly, if you think these cameras are bad, you should check out the club ones, where the club circuit ones, where you just question what the iRacing staff were thinking when they're doing that. But gotta go back to this battle. Whiting versus McNally. Oh,
Oh,
they
three
contacted
wide!
now down the inside. It's Buzan. This is going to be a brave move, but no, he backs out of it and probably wisely. Buzan trying to get one of them at least past McNally. Will he go to the inside? Kind of just, yeah, allowing one another through, carrying not a lot of speed through the corner, sprinting away from this now is Clyde Whiting up into 8th position. And down the inside is Buzan outside McNally. And Buzan gets the move done. So McNally, who was running as high as 6th position earlier on, down into 10th.
Another lap is in the books. McKnight gets his personal best, but still is a bit slower than Tony Klusterman there at the front. McClay trying to pull away from Tononi right now. Tononi having a fantastic debut for, as McNally was wide, in his Euro V8's debut. And you know, last season in the media day at Donington, the debutants had a good showing. Then they were able to back up that good showing throughout the season. So it's a very good signal for him, because I think he knows. I think when you have a good showing here, you, especially on this track, I would say, you can really make your mark for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a couple of them aren't here today. Stadler and Antonia has an off there for Clyde Whiting. So he'd done the hard work, got himself up into 8th place. And now look at this, under pressure from Bingham. But they'll say, but you don't want to take out the league organizer. Of course, Bingham also does a little bit of admin, I think, as well. And of course, two very loyal drivers.
League admin, teammate, colleague in the league organization. Yeah. So you really don't want to have contact with Clyde, as you can see. Then on the straight right pulling away. Let's move back to this battle here, because Mason has had a fantastic run. And as I say that, it's a slowdown. Okay. And strike one for the commentator's curse.
Well, Claire hasn't had to race long with us. Into the barrier.
Kuziak, yeah.
Into the barrier. Again, those that corner really does bite. That's our 3rd crash in pretty much exactly the same style. And Masiec now a long way off that pack. Look at this. Whiting and Bingham going side by side. McNally trying to get involved for the Excite Energy iRacing team. He's to home stay put. We saw this. Unfortunately, me and Marco weren't commentating on the last time this stage visited Sebring, but it was a very similar race to this, where the midfield is absolutely enthralling, where you've got so many different drivers in these big packs.
Because today, I think, Sam, I think this is a track where you can make many, it gives you plenty of chances to make a mistake. No? So if you're not 100% smooth through the lap, you're going to lose time somewhere. So, and now look at McNally on the inside, and he makes it stick. We have to cut to the front for a second because McClay is in the daisies, and that is going to be a massive slowdown. And Tononi really has a chance to close in on the 3rd spot of the podium once again. That was a big mistake from George. There was a lapped car in front of him.
No, that's McKnight.
That is Jamie McKnight. You are absolutely right. Jamie is still porting, I think, a generic livery for this round. That is why I got, surprised. So, McLean third. Let me also spend a word for a newcomer to the series who I know very well. It is Bobby Childs, and he is here for D2D Esports. He is a regular of our fantastic championship that we run in the night, the Ricmotech series. That is one of the fastest and most consistent drivers, and he is trying his hand with the Euro V8s. Certainly a long and tough waiting curve for him, learning curve for him, but he certainly is one of those drivers that can really become protagonist in the future of the championship.
Yeah, it's good to see new drivers join the series, of course. McNally trying to get past Whiting again. So McNally all of a sudden with all the pace,
Oh,
and
contact!
Whiting going to be shoved out there into turn one. They're both very wide. But it is now McNally back ahead, so he's gone from... Oh, and now Whiting gets back ahead, so maybe a little bit of courtesy there. So, yeah, McNally went from 7th to 6th, back down to 10th, back up to 9th, and back down to 10th again. Being a turbulent race for him. And now Bingham and Moons have rejoined this battle. Kusiak is still only 6 seconds behind, despite that crash. So clearly, if you crash there, it may not be too much damage, as off the circuit goes Mason. And that's a long detour in the grass, trying to get past Woodward, who Claire's been pressurizing for many laps. And now going to lose a position to Lane O'Connor as well, who picks up the pieces and is up into the top 6.
So, let's see where Tony is. Tony is entering the backstretch, so I would imagine that the next time he crosses the start-finish line, that is going to be the white flag. So, one more lap for him, and let's see. So, 1.5 more laps for these guys here, battling for P9, 10, 11, 12, and these are going to be, could potentially be very important positions for the reverse grid, which is, coming very soon. And I know you're all waiting for that particular moment.
Oh, yeah. But they always say you can't reinvent the wheel, and well, that's exactly what Clyde Whiting has done for this series. So I'm very excited about seeing the inauguration of that. Coming down to the last 5 seconds now. So these guys will have one more lap to go, seeing that Tony Klusman has already crossed the line some while ago. Ooh, almost into the barrier there is Ronald Moons. So he's really being detached from this battle. Of course, last season we saw so many small reverse grids. Hopefully today we'll have a couple of big ones. And if they are a couple of big ones, then these guys could certainly be involved. Down the inside goes Peter Bingham. McNally very wide, just as he was on the last lap when he tried to get past Whiting. And Bingham moving ahead. He's got the better line, but McNally much better on the brakes. Still has to back out of it. And Bingham looks as though he's going to claim that top 10 spot, but still a couple of opportunities for McNally to retaliate.
Yes, absolutely. So McNally trying to close to Bingham. Moons is behind him. McNally and Moons, of course, BSR veterans. As around goes McNally, here comes Moons, side by side. And I think the former Simmortal driver will get the move done.
O'Connor under pressure from Mason. Probably only one more overtaking spot down into Sunset, but maybe even the run to the line could be an opportunity. Really, Mason ought to be fighting for a top 4, maybe even a podium with the pace that Claire has shown. Ooh. Almost into the back of O'Connor, showing a lot of confidence there, but not a fantastic run. And now got to square off the corner, get a run down into Sunset Bend. Out in the lead, Tony Kloosterman is going to take his first win of the day. The Canadian takes the top step of the podium in race 1 at Sebring. Jamie McKnight, a fantastic return to the series. He's going to be in 2nd place. Woodward a little bit out of shape. He'll be 5th. O'Connor and Mason. Is there any opportunity for Mason to get the run to the line? No, O'Connor really did take a good tight line through Sunset Bend. And he takes 6th place. McNally now down to 12th position behind Moons then. So an awful final lap for Adam McNally. Was fighting for 9th. He's going to end up in 12th. And you can see his distaste for that result.
Well, I thought that was a gesture of happiness because of the great, the fun he had.
Oh, maybe it was. Maybe it was. we can hope, at least.
We'll have to ask him if he comes for an interview. Who's left? Banglight and Gary Croft are the 2 drivers that we are missing from the start-finish line. Here comes the Phantom Sim Racing driver. He will score P14 and P15, and last of the eligible cars for the reverse is going to be Gary Croft in his NQR Ford, the beautiful new NQR livery. By the way, it's absolutely amazing.
So that's the end of race 1 then, and we can take you through the final results. Tony Kliesman wins out 7 seconds clear of Joe McKnight. It was a very comfortable win in the end. George McClay, good recovery after dropping down to 7th on the opening lap. He finishes 3rd with Juan Pablo Tononi. Nice debut for him in 4th. Anthony Woodward, competitive 5th, just ahead of Lane O'Connor, who really picked up the pieces from other people's mistakes. Claire Mason had a half-decent chance at maybe a top 4 finish, but a late mistake ended up in 7th, with Samuel Buzan finishing in 8th. Clyde Whiting and Peter Bingham were in 9th and 10th, with Ronald Means in 11th, and McNally slipping down from an early good start, got up to 6th place at the start, ends up in 12th. Maciej Kuziak had a crash and still finished 13th, so he'll be happy with that one. Ben Galit was in 14th, and then the final driver on the lead lap was Gary Croft, who was running in a competitive 2nd place, but it all went wrong when he hit the tyre barrier. The retirees, Bobby Charles, well, actually, no, he didn't retire. He was 2 laps down, though. But the other retirees were Hoffman and Frost, rounding out that 18 car field. So those 3 drivers then, Charles, Hoffman, and Frost, won't be eligible for the reverse grid. As Marco, it's a big moment. It's a momentous moment. We've
Yeah.
got used to such basic reverse grid wheels, but now this is really the upgrade that generations have been waiting for.
Yes, and you should see it on your screen right now. Here we go. So we also have a new green button that says spin it instead of roll it or something like that, whatever it was earlier. And you can see we have 2 wheels, an outer wheel, seems like a dartboard basically, outside wheel and an inside wheel, and Sam says that he knows how this works. So let's roll it. Oh, the 2 wheels are spinning in different directions.
Oh,
Oh man,
fantastic.
that
I
is
can't believe you didn't test this out.
a seizure waiting to happen. Okay, so the outer rim says 24 and the inner rim says +2. So this would have been a massive reverse in the regular season of 26, I would say. But this will, of course, translate into a full reverse of the cars that finished on the lead lap. And this means, I think, that we are going to have 15 reverse with Gary Croft will be your pole sitter for race 2. Bengalite, Maciej Kuziak, Adam McNally, and Ronald Moons the top 5, if I am not mistaken.
Yes, you are 100% correct. Tony Kliesman will be starting down in 15th position, so it'll be a long drive for him, a 20-minute second race. Do not miss it. It'll be a fantastic event from Sebring. We'll be back in about 20 minutes' time for race 2 of the evening.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year.
Welcome back to the Racetech Euro V8 Supercar Series live on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and once again alongside me is Marco Barbier, and we are once again at Sebring, this time for race 2 of this media day for season 7 of the Euro V8 Supercar Series. And race 1, Marco, was it was pretty entertaining, particularly in that midfield. That kind of 8th or so position was very good. But this is where the races ramp up. We had a big reverse grid, a full reverse grid, and that just guarantees action. It means that Gary Croft is on the pole position, big favourite for this race, but the likes of Tony Klusman and George McLaren, Jamie McKnight are all going to have to make their way up through the field.
Yes, absolutely. Big reverse. Apologies for the wheel not moving on the screen. We'll have to sort that out. And of course, even more important, I'd say, in this second race is going to be the fact that we are going to have a full reverse in race 3. So being on that lead lap is going to be crucial if you want to have then a shot at the final race of the night, as we are into the final few seconds of practice, and then we have a 1 minute gridding time, so this is going to be a very quick turnaround for these drivers, as we are just waiting for the session to switch over, and then we will go through the grid, and here we go.
Yes, and it is Gary Croft on the pole position ahead of Ben Gielit, Maciej Kuziak, and Adam McNary. That's the first 2 rows, but behind that is Ronald Moons, Peter Bingham, Clyde Whiting, Samuel Buzan, Lane O'Connor, and Anthony Woodward rounding out the top 10. Then it's Juan Pablo Tononi, George McClay, Jamie McKnight, race 1 winner Tony Klusman, and then it will be Bobby Charles, Andrew Hoffman, and Michael Frost rounding out the field. Like Marco said, one finish on the lead lap for this race to be eligible for the full reverse grid. Shouldn't have any full reverse grids for the proper season, but today, maybe for a little bit of action, I think the organisers have thrown it in. Everyone is onto the grid, all 17 cars, and race 2 of the media day for the Euro V8 Supercar Series is about to get underway. Gary Croft on the pole position, and away we go. Kuziak with a fantastic start, not so for Gielit, and also McNally as well might be gaining a position as well as we head into turn 1. Croft way out in front of the rest of the field. Really good start for Kuziak. He's well clear of the rest of the pack as well. A couple of drivers just running wide. There's a little bit of contact, a lot of contact, and now there's even more contact. A lot of cars will get involved in that one. Maybe not as bad as it initially looks. I think 3 drivers perhaps with race-ending damage there, but Croft not pulling away too much out in the lead. A good start, by the way, for George McClay. He's up into 6th position. Not a good start for Tony Klusman. I think he got caught up in that wreck.
Yes, I think Tony, Bingham, Buzan, and Hoffman were the 4 cars involved in various degrees in that collision, which we will go back to as soon as we can. At the same time, Michael Frost is, I think, around at the hairpin, but Ben Gielit, not the best start, lost 2 positions. Now he's about to lose a 3rd because George McClay somehow gets past him, getting also a little bit of a tap, let's say, from the number 22 driver.
Yeah, McClay's been absolutely rapid on this opening lap. We saw a stunning first lap at Snetterton from Johnny Granaway, gained, I think, 11 places in about 3 corners. but this from McClay up 8 places in just half a lap. Very impressive, and he's certainly giving himself a chance at a race win. Of course, took the last race victory of the season in Season 6 at Snetstone in the Super Sprint. I'll try to be backing that up today. Woodward's just got past Moons, who's struggling a little bit. He's now under pressure from Lane O'Connor and Juan Pablo Tanoni out down the back, so you'll just see them a little bit side by side in the background there. That's the battle for 7th, 8th and 9th. As apologies, I just realised that I'm not actually following the action because I've messed up the live timing software. That's all sorts of bad.
Very nice, as we are heading into the straight, and Tony Klusterman in the pits, so probably some big damage to him at the very beginning of the race. Let's say we get a replay of what happened at the start. So that's the Zia car going a bit. Oh, that's a side-by-side contact there between those were Bingham and I think Whiting. I'm speaking. There was Bingham and man, who was the other driver who was involved there?
What, Buzan?
Sam Buzan, of course, and also Tony Klusterman got involved, and as you can see, all hell broke loose.
There's McClay versus McNally. McClay up into the top 3 then. We know he was right on the tail of Kuziak, but McClay wasting no time there, and he's still only 2.5 seconds off the race lead. I don't think it's going to take him too long to get past the GTL VRT car just ahead.
A little bit of a wide entry there for McNally. You know, with GT cars, you tend to try to cut those curves as much as you can, but it's not always possible. And you get it slightly wrong, you are getting tagged with a slowdown. So, and you don't want to get a slowdown, especially in the first couple of laps, especially on a track like this. They are still crossing in on Kuziak, by the way, so tasty battle for the second spot of the podium, and Croft is very happy because he can pull away, of course. You can see Gary Croft, I think he should have a white banner on his car, which means he's a member of the club championship. Yes, it's and he's a bit sideways there, but he should be good to go. As Tanoni, you can see him now putting some pressure on Jamie McKnight.
Yeah, Croft's very fast club driver, it must be said. But meets the entry requirements as down the inside goes McClay on Kuziak, and that's going to be very simple. Masiek giving him a lot of space, and McClay up into the top 2 now. 2 seconds to catch up to the race leader. He's giving himself a fantastic chance at winning this race from 12th on the grid. Of course, the club drivers, to be eligible for the club championship, you needed to have competed in over half of the races last season and not to have scored a top 5 finish in the past 2 seasons. And Croft, despite having plenty of 6th places, has not had a top 5 finish. So he's certainly going to be one of the favourites for that championship this season after winning the club championship last season as well, ahead of Clive Whiting.
My favourite to win that particular title.
Yes.
And he's sitting in P10 with Bobby Childs behind him and trying to catch up to Ronald Moons. This battle here for 3rd place is absolutely enthralling. So we'll stay there for a bit because now O'Connor is coming also to join this fight.
McNally, I think, trying to break the draft down the pit straight. It might not work. Here comes Woodward. Very close to the concrete wall on the inside. But Woodward almost pushing him out. There's surely got to be contact between the 2 of them there. and the Excite Racing driver being forced out. But does he have the better line into turn 1? Has to slot back into the position. And McNally's kind of got used to being overtaken, it must be said, dropping from 6th to 12th in race 1. He's now dropped from about 3rd position to 5th position now. Not over though with Woodward, but can't get the move done into turn 3. And yeah, Lane O'Connor having a terrific run up there, apologies, in 6th place.
Absolutely, absolutely. McNally is really trying to get used to the. He was very, excited after the, which is not a pun. Again, sorry.
Oh, well done.
After the first race, despite dropping several positions, he was enthusiastic about the racing that he had in that particular in the previous race, and now once again he's in the thick of action because having a good shot at the podium, and Kujak is making a little bit of a train behind him, and any one of these drivers really can hope to get third. Kujak, Woodward, McNally, O'Connor, and McKnight himself.
Yeah, and Tononi is closing on these guys. You can just see him a little bit detached at the moment, but he's probably faster than all of these drivers, apart from maybe McKnight. So he will undoubtedly make this a 6-car chain very soon. Under big pressure there is Woodward from McNally. McNally always seems to be even on pace with these guys, but he just somehow seems to get shuffled down, which is slightly surprising considering that his vast experience in the BSRTC Championship, where a racecraft is absolutely key. Here he goes down the inside into the second part of Sunset, and that's where you want to position your car because it's so much easier to be on the inside there when through the middle of the circuit there's a lot of bumps. And McNally back up into 4th position. Kuziak just getting a little bit away. Giving up on this one is Woodward. Down the inside into turn 1. Going tremendous speed. McNally's going to get a little bit of contact. And now, coming through down the inside is Lane O'Connor. Nowhere where McNally can go. And I think that's O'Connor down the inside. Maybe even more contact between the two of them. McNally, he's almost spun it, and he's going to lose 2 positions, might even lose 3 positions, and this is what I was talking about earlier on. It's just not Adam McNally's day.
Look at that, because back at the front, oh dear. Massive wreck at the hairpin, just as we were switching to the fight for the lead, just very quickly. Let's go through what happened here, because all of a sudden McLeay has closed in on Gary Croft. So this is Kujak, more or less. Oh, dearie me, that was a bit optimistic, I have to say. From
Woodward,
from Woodward, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he deliberately went for the move, but just very early braking. Yeah, he wasn't going for the move from back here. Oh. And if he'd maybe gone a little bit more straight there, he may have avoided that one. That was Jamie McKnight getting involved just behind, so he's really lost out. Croft though. 3.5 tenths of a second over George McLeay. Because they've got such a big gap to the drivers behind that they can pretty much race freely without concern of costing them one another. You got that cone in the fence down turn 1, just watch out for that one. Is that always in the fence, or does that get kicked up into the fence?
No, I think it's always there.
Right.
It's a sight very familiar to oval racers, especially. In many tracks you have, I think about Phoenix, for example, you have the cones stuck in the catch fence, especially on the weirder ovals. Look at that. On the outside goes McLeay.
Wanting to go down the inside. the inside is in a much better line. Gets ever so narrow through that hairpin. Goff's doing a good job. He's got to do a good job for another 8 minutes or so if he's going to win this race too. Here comes McClay again. He's almost into the back of Croft, and Croft is going to be off the circuit. McClay almost off the circuit as well, now trying to wait for his rival. Will Croft be able to stay in second place? Yes, he will. McClay, I think, will wait for him. He made an initial attempt to wait for him.
Oh, that steering is not looking good for Croft.
Oh dear. There goes Anthony Woodward, straight past.
Let's get a replay of that. Once again, we are seeing that braking areas are proving to be challenging for these drivers. Poor Croft is really in a big struggle with his car right now. He will have to head for the pits and get a fast repair. And look at the train of cars behind him. He is going to drop down significantly.
Yeah, will he make a beeline for the pits? Yes, he will. Wise thing to do. He'll sit on the lead lap, but we're going to have a few drivers out of position in this race. Now, McKnight with damage down there, losing positions, and also Klusterman not recovering two main positions from that early incident. Here comes McNally trying to gain back some positions. He's back into 4th place. Or is he? He's off the circuit, and Lane O'Connor retakes that position. Tononi's now up into 3rd place. Very just quietly gone about his business. It's going to be one of the highest scorers at this point, probably only behind George McClay at this point for the score for today. No points, of course, for today. The proper championship starts in 2 weeks' time. And of course, also to join this championship, we've also got a Saturday league as well, where it's 3 20-minute races in this car, and it's hosted on the circuits, which the big series, this series, will visit the week after. So if you just want to do some 20-minute races, do certainly check that out at V8 ESC.
Yes, absolutely. Basically, 1 week before the regular series event, this one, you will have that sprint series format that Sam just told you. So it's a nice way to get acquainted with the racetrack and racing door to door. And you can see some of the new drivers are really props to Adam McNally, because you went very deep there in the braking area with O'Connor, not scared to fight, but of course you need a bit of time to get used. And so that series, I think, is a fantastic idea. And also, once again, don't forget, this championship is 100% free. So if you want to take part, you can. And you can also join the driver development program. But even if you don't join that, because you don't have the time or you're not interested, as Whiting and Kujak side by side, 47, the league admins and the quickest drivers of the series are very open to help you and give you tips, share setups. So do join this series, because once again it's free as Whiting completes the move. And you are going to have a lot of fun. Every new driver that comes in, yes, has to deal with how tough the car is, but invariably they all say that the league is fantastic and there's a beautiful atmosphere, and they really enjoy both the racing and the community.
Yeah, definitely. Under pressure is Kuziak from McKnight. This is going to be a brave move from McKnight this way. Had his troubles earlier on in the race. No troubles this time. Masiek has been pretty courteous to the other drivers, and it's kept him on the road, whilst others have fallen off. So still a strong ninth, and that could get better as Ronald Moons falling back into the clutches of these 4 drivers, really, because Bobby Charles is doing a very good job at keeping up with these guys, only a few seconds behind us. Moons, with a very poor exit, they're losing a couple of places.
Yes, so here goes Whiting, then McKnight, Kujak and Childs will try to be next. I don't know, Moons maybe with a better exit through that section as we head into the Le Mans section. Might try and get the move back on McKnight. Look at how close we can see from the gearbox camera. Kujak is, and too close maybe for comfort, as they make contact, and there's a good save from Moons. And now, of course, they will lose a bit of time compared to the rest of the field.
Yeah, quite remarkable how he managed to get all four wheels back in the right direction there. It's Moons and Kujak. Oh, he's almost spun the car again. Moons overheating those tires. It's a very warm track out there, 39 degrees, and once you spin up those wheels one time or slide them a little bit, it can be ever so difficult to cool them back down. And now Charles is only just behind, who struggled in race 1, but he's absolutely flying along in this race too.
Let's jump on board with him. This is veteran of the Rick Motec series, and now trying his hand as the Euro V8s.
Klusman is 5.5 seconds behind these guys. He's not going to be too far behind by the conclusion of the race. He's lapping 3 seconds a lap faster. It's Klusman, and he's just got past Michael Frost. So if these guys can't afford to fight too much, otherwise the Canadian will be straight past them very soon.
Oh, Bobby, wow. That was so close, and look in front of him. Moons and Kujak going at it, and Childs, I think, is waiting to pounce on any mistake.
They're all struggling ever so much with the rear of the car. Just, tiptoeing round the circuit, Charles, with another big slide, and every time you do that, it heats up the
Moons
tyres, and
again.
surely this time it's going to be round.
No.
Oh, no. Great save there from Moons. From, his team name is Drift Department, and that is very fitting of his driving currently. Means that Andrew Hoffman's now only 2 seconds behind, Klusman only 3 seconds behind these guys. With 1 lap to go, he might just catch and pass them if they carry on fighting. But Charles now ahead of Moons.
The white flag is in the air for George McLay, as you can see right now. And he's got quite a big lead over Anthony Woodward. So he's got the win in the bag. Let's switch to the fights. Whiting and McKnight for P6. Childs and Moons. This will be for P9, 10, as of course you can see Tony here coming through like you said earlier.
Yeah, it was another 4 seconds faster than Moons on that last lap, and he's 2.5 seconds behind, so just about catchable. As a slow car on the inside there, Clyde Whiting. Now, surely has he run out of fuel? He's not trying to cheat the system, I would have thought. Adam McNally into the wall. From 6th position, gets back on, but he's lost 1, 2, 3 positions. And he's got Hoffman and Klusman only just behind.
Another late race drama for Adam. Let's see what happened in the replay. He was taking it very easy, I have to say. That was a very lazy spin. And not a lot of damage, but of course, being in the final lap, there will be not a lot of time to recover from that. As Clyde Whiting has told the pits, and McNally,
yeah, another off.
Is pointing in the wrong direction. So yeah, not the end of the race he was looking for.
Charles might get away from this with a 7th position as it stands, maybe even a 6th position if something happens to Kujak. But out in the lead, George McLay, he made a slight mistake en route But apart from that, it has been a comfortable race victory. From 12th on the grid, George McClay wins race 2 at Sebring. Anthony Woodward will be next across the line. Nice podium for him, along with Juan Pablo Tononi. Another fantastic result. A very good third place, acting beyond his years. Kuziak, Charles, Moons, can he get a move done right at the end of this race? They're both a little bit wide, both on the bumps. Can they get the power down one last time? It's been such a difficulty. And yes, they can. Klusman isn't going to get Hoffman, and was just a couple of laps short at maybe finishing a couple of places higher. But after an early crash, 10th place isn't too bad for him. And Adam McNally with his customary slalom across the line. And we'll have Croft. Another disappointing result for him, Buzan and Bingham to cross the line and round out the finishers. Clyde Whiting had to actually retire from the race, it seems, so will not be eligible for that reverse grid. Yes, and it's George McClay winning out 10 seconds ahead of Anthony Woodward, Juan Pablo Tononi in third position. Len O'Connor, very competitive fourth from him once again, turning into a good day this. Jamie McKnight, a solid fifth from 13th on the grid. Matthew Kuziak was in sixth, very action-packed race for him. Bobby Charles just kept his head down, and a very respectable seventh, up 8 places. Ronald Moons finished in 8th place after, I believe, one spin, but it wasn't too bad for him. Andrew Hoffman was in 9th, with Tony Klusman after an early crash in 10th. Michael Frost finished in 11th, with Adam McNally in 12th. There's Gary Croft, Sam Buzan, Peter Bingham. Those were the drivers on the lead lap and will be reversed. And then also Clyde Whiting was 1 lap down. Ben Gielit was the only proper retiree. So for race 3, we'll have Pete Bingham on the pole position. Simon Buzan will be alongside him on the front row of the grid, and Gary Croft will be on the second row of the grid alongside Adam McKnight. So another opportunity for Croft starting high up on the grid. Can he convert this one into a race win? To find out, you'll have to tune in about 20 minutes time once again for race 3 of the media day of the UAV8 Supercar Series. See you then. Welcome back to...
Too late. Too late. So yeah, Sam, that was the quickest, I think, and shortest welcome back in the history of Apex Racing TV. We are going back to the commercial break if you agree with me.
Yes. Bye then.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Back to the Racetech Euro V8 Supercar series. We are just grading up for race 3 of the evening. It's Peter Bingham on pole position ahead of Sam Buzan, Gary Croft, Adam McNally, and Michael Frost. That's the top 5. And the rest of the grid will shuffle through for you now. And we've had a couple of different race winners for races 1 and 2. Kloosterman and McClay. Who is it going to be in race 3 for the season 7 media date of the Euro V8 Supercar series? Bingham from the pole. And away we go. It's another fantastic start for the driver from 3rd position. Awful start there for Buzan, already losing 3 positions. We might even see 4 wide going down into turn 1. But Bingham ahead of Croft, ahead of McNally and Frost as well. And we've seen scoring shears in contact through turn 1 so far today. No such problems so far. Croft, though, going for the lead straight away as we've got Buzan on the inside of the track. Somehow doesn't collect anyone else. We've got a little bit more contact as well. I think that was Kuzak and maybe Moons as well, making a bit of contact further down the order. But still, not too many big collisions. But it's Gary Croft after a couple of decent qualifying positions for races 1 and 2. He looks strong to convert this race 3.
He really does. He really does look strong, and hopefully, everything goes well. We have lots of drama, but on-track drama, like not contact drama. Good for these drivers. Finally a clean run through turn 1 as we are heading into the middle portion of the lap. We have, you see in the back, a lot of fighting argy-bargy. At the front of the field, Croft from Bingham, from Frost, McNally, and Tony Kloosterman, as we can enjoy the beautiful May Florida sunset.
Yes, it's 7 in the evening in the sim on the 15th of May. So yeah, we'll be able to appreciate that as the race goes on. Down the inside there, McNally potentially losing out to Frost. Nice move there from Michael Frost in 3rd position now. And also going through is Tony Kloosman, although it's not a fantastic launch for Kloosman, who now gets blocked a little bit by McNally. And who's that down the inside, trying to storm past all of them? It's Jamie McKnight, and he now moves alongside Kloosman. This would be a brave move, but a very important one. Almost 3 wide into sunset, 2 wide is tough enough, and they're surely going to just about squeeze their way through. Yes, Kloosman ahead of McNally, and it's actually McKnight who has lost out from that battle. All of a sudden, it's a couple of drivers really dropping down the order there, but yeah, Kloosman up into 3rd place. McNally holding off McKnight. McKnight can't afford to spend too many more corners behind the driver currently sitting in 4th position.
And that takes a lot of guts, especially for the driver that is hugging the inside line, because, oh, some sliding there from McKnight. In contact with McNally. McNally really wants to have a good race, especially in the final portion, you know. And this is a very taxing car to drive, you know. So I don't think it's a coincidence that, you know, at the end of both races you drop down a bit. Both mentally and physically you have to be on point when you drive one of these cars, especially around Sebring. So hopefully Adam has learned his lesson and is looking forward to have a cleaner run through race 3. But look behind him, because we have Moon, Stanoni, Kujak, O'Connor, Buzin. Look at the train of cars closing in on the Excite Energy iRacing driver.
Yeah, he's got a proper queue forming behind him now. Moons and Tononi the first up, as Moons really messes that one up, and through goes Tononi. Almost contact between the two of them, but Tononi back up into 6th position, started 13th, and he's had a terrific day, a driver who we haven't seen much of in the past. Kujak is next on McNally potentially. Oh, sorry, yeah, getting a bit confused there. That was Moons losing outside to Tononi. McClay just at the rear of this, who's got to make his way up through the grid because he's already about 8 seconds off the race lead.
Look at Tony Klusterman getting closer and closer. Second placed Peter Bingham, the pole sitter. I mean, Gary Croft is in the form of his life tonight. He really should show as you know, Tony goes through. He really, you know, would crown his great night of racing with a win, but unfortunately for him, this is the longest race of the day, and Tony Klusterman is already up to second. Also, I think Gary is, you know, he's always been quick, like you said earlier, but he's found the extra bit of pace after my prediction of Clyde Whiting winning the club championship. I am quite sure it is because of that, and also because he's driving a Ford now. So.
Yes. Could be contact with McClay, who gains a couple of positions there. Nice move there from McClay. This hasn't been pretty, these overtakes from George McClay, but he's got through, and he seems to not have made any contact with other drivers. Bizan starting in second place, but this is going to be a big shot, and is that going to involve McClay? Yes, it is. Nothing he could do. That was O'Connor skating across the circuit in this XVR machine, and collected McClay. He doesn't pick up too much damage, but it still set McClay back a little bit. Lost 3 positions. And
look at the lag. Yeah.
McClay tried to avoid it as well.
He saw it. I think 1 second before everything happened, Buzin disappeared for a second. Look at this. You will see him disappear. Or maybe the replay doesn't show it, but he disappeared, and I think that created good racecraft from McClay. He wasn't unlucky. Childs, yeah. He was a little bit, you know, more lucky and was able to avoid the mess. As Bingham gets passed by McKnight whilst we were watching the replay. So it's Croft from Klusterman from McKnight. You can see him here. That's his personal best, 204.7. And behind them is Danoni, McNally, Kujak, Buzin. Look at this fight here. As we are into lap 4, longer race, longest of the night, 40 minutes, of course, the feature race. As Lane O'Connor is heading for the pits.
It's going to be a nice move from Woodward if he can pull this off. And he does. Outside of a couple of corners, inside for one of them. Pulls ahead of Sam Boozer, and that's the battle for second place out of the club drivers. Of course, Anthony Woodward, a former runner-up in the club championship to Richard Warmingham, who unfortunately isn't around today, but we're hoping to see those XVR drivers of warming up Boggy and Brandon back again to
They
defend
left
their title.
poor Lane O'Connor all alone today, and
Yeah,
he's not
he's
used
done
to this.
remarkably well.
Yeah, he's not used to be the only XVR driver in the field. Tony Klusterman closing in on the race leader now. Like we said earlier, he said that us not predicting him as the series champion gives him a bit of hope, both because he's not feeling the pressure and because he didn't say that, but I'm guessing that he also said that because now the commentators' curses are all on the other drivers. So he's racing with a free mind, the two-time champion, the only back-to-back champion in the history of the series, looking to get back on the top step of the podium at the end of the season, and having a nice showing without, when he doesn't run into trouble. Today he has been absolutely fantastic, and yeah, he's really closing in on Croft. 0.5 of a second gained this time around, and his teammate also both driving for NQR. Now I told Tony maybe it was time to switch to Ford, but he's still driving the Holden.
I mean, that would have won him the championship already.
Yeah.
If he'd gone to the Ford, but unfortunately not. Hopefully, of course, there's going to be some new V8 content with iRacing's agreement with the real-life V8 Supercar series. Hopefully, we'll have a couple of Australian circuits and maybe the updated cars, but nothing's really been confirmed on that front, I believe. And with iRacing, you've always kind of got to think of the worst possible scenario, and then you're less likely to be let down. Certainly, much of the community over the last 10 or so years have learned to take that mentality. Sorry for the bit of a downer, but,
No, it's
always set low expectations. You can never be disappointed, eh?
Exactly. Adam McNally has been passed by Kushak in the meantime.
Hopefully these two do the entire season, because they're going to be very evenly matched if they do, because I swear they've had, between the two of them, they've probably overtaken one another about 6 times so far today.
Yes, and Tanoni is having another great run, sitting in the top 5 once again. As we head for the Allman Straight for the 5th time in this 3rd race, and each lap that goes by, Tony Klusterman gets closer and closer to the rear end of Gary Croft's car. Like I said, teammates, even though they're driving different cars, so I'm sure they will be on the radio with each other. They know they have a decent advantage over Jimmy McKnight, but not that big. So let's see how they will solve this small issue of winning the race.
Croft half defending, but it's such a wide turning into turn 1, it's impossible to go all the way to the inside. And Tony Klusterman takes the lead in race 3 at Sebring. He won race 1, and he's looking very strong for race 3. One of the only drivers who can probably stop him, George McClay. He's trying to get past Sam Buzan currently, and he's going to repeat the move of his potential championship rival. Certainly they are going to be fighting for many wins, the two of them. And McClay still hasn't got it done. Buzan is doing very well at sticking it around the outside, but just going a little bit too wide there, and couldn't maintain the pressure. Of course, McClay and Klusterman had a classic battle at Nürburgring race 2 last season, probably my favourite race of the championship, where Klusterman managed to hold off the hard-charging Fitstone Motorsport driver for about probably 15-20 laps, and was absolutely nail-biting stuff.
I'm wondering if we're going to see the lights turned on before the end of the race. Let's give you the weather situation very quickly, and right now it is 7:20 in the evening, so I don't think it's going to come to the situation where the lights will need to be turned on. And we know we have the new headlights for the cars on iRacing, which we saw earlier today, unfortunately, in the SRA Formula Series, and also Sebring, one of those tracks that is night racing ready, so you can very, very well race at night around here. If you have the headlights, provided you have those headlights. The only issue that you can have is maybe in a situation like this, you could have maybe the sun being blocked by the clouds, but I think that no, I think the lights go on at a certain time, basically, not at a certain level of lighting situation. So it might be already time to get the lights on, but the sim is not the correct sim time as of yet, and so you might have we had this problem in the 12 hours of Sebring earlier this season. We had like 5 laps more or less where you really needed the headlights, but you didn't have them. So, but you know, there's a bit more sunlight there, and then you have a massive like 1 second mega stutter when the lights come on all around the track, but after that the transition is absolutely seamless, I have to say.
Yes, very impressive what iRacing have done. Of course, didn't stop you, Marco, on route to taking that race win in the GT3
Yes, because I was not
class.
driving. I was not driving at that particular moment.
McNally loses a position to Woodhouse. And now he's going to lose a
Oh,
position
the
to McLean.
commentator's
Off
curse.
goes to Noni, and, well, that must be the first mistake we've ever seen him make. As now, off goes, McNally, and, well, he can understandably be quite frustrated with how the day's gone for him. Ever so strong in every race, but just hasn't gone his way.
And once again at the 15 minutes mark, seems like his bad luck starts after the 15 minutes in the race. And he's towed back to the pit, so I think some damage. Let's get a replay of that. Oh, he lost it entering the corner.
Oh,
Good driving there from both him, that he didn't overreact, and also it was McLean that avoided him with style, I have to say. So Klusterman, Croft and McKnight now, I think, lapping ever so slightly faster than Croft, so these three guys are more or less equally spaced out, with McKnight, I think, trying to close the gap on Croft. And also pushing hard are McLeay, Busin. They are just they've just done the fastest lap of their respective races.
still doing really well out there is Peter Bingham. You think if this was a super sprint race, this would be the end of the race by now, and for Vulcan Racing, he's done an excellent job. He is probably not going to finish in that position. You feel so the likes of Tononi, and maybe Woodward and McClay as well are probably going to catch and pass him by the end of the race. But whilst it lasts, a nice drive from him after missing a few races last season. Not quite sure what the reason for that was. But no, nice comeback to the series today.
So as you can see from on board with Peter, you can see that the light situation is perfect around there. McKnight is closing in on Gary Croft, but not close enough to trigger the battle box, which I think will trigger at 1.5 seconds away from each other. It's very close to getting down to that particular gap, but not close enough. Sorry, 1 second. 1 second and 1.5 to disappear.
Right, okay. So McClay closing in on Woodward. That's Never Quit Racing versus Sense Fitstone Motorsports. With Buzan for SEO Racing only just behind. McClay on that last lap, it's difficult to compare him to the race leaders. He was nearly 1 second slower than Tony Klusman on that last lap. But in terms of his, yeah, that was actually his fastest lap. So it just shows how much traffic McClay's been in, and it's maybe a little bit unusual for the front runners to take quite this long to get their way through, but of course he did have that slight hit later on where he lost 3 places and also about 10 seconds as well in terms of time, and that really has set him back. He's only 5 seconds behind Peter Bingham, so certainly still very possible for him to get a 4th place. Any further than that, it's going to be very difficult for him as, yeah, Woodward catching up to Kujak now.
Here comes the Argentinian driver. Good defending from Bingham there, and I have to say I really like this new livery for Vulcan Racing. As you can see, Tony is really close.
Yeah, gonna go to the outside, can make that one work. Oh, and surely he's gonna be round. No, it's a terrific drift. And he really doesn't like that corner a lot, does he, Tononi? But credit to him, fantastic catch at the side. Just dipped his wheel onto the grass seemingly on turn in. But and he seems to just keep on catching up to Bingham and then falling away.
McClay and Woodward. So McClay's car seems to be fine despite that big contact he had earlier. Of course, I am expecting at least a pit stop. So with the faster pair, you can sort any issues you have. There's gotta be a pit stop in this race, I hope. Yes, thank you, Tony.
Pretty early this. It's gonna be right in the midst of the traffic potentially. McClay past Woodward. Will anyone else come into the pits, I wonder? McClay is, and Woodward is. Maybe just try and get out of the traffic. Not really an excuse for Tony Klosterman because he was well out in the lead. And yeah, where will he come out? He's still stationary, so he's going to come out behind everyone pretty much. He hasn't pitted.
Yes, so his pit stop was 10.6 seconds in the pit stall, and overall, cone to cone 44 seconds. So we can use that as a baseline to get an idea of the other drivers' stops. So the new leader is Gary Croft, but he is in danger of being overtaken by Jimmy McKnight straight away because McKnight is now less than half a second away from the NQR driver.
Yeah, just set his fastest lap of the race, did McKnight, so certainly no significant tyre wear for him. Track down to 26 degrees, so it's gone down 3 degrees, I believe, since the start of the race. If you were McKnight here, what would you do in terms of pit stops? Would you pit straight away, or do the opposite to him, or just carry on going as long as possible?
I would pit straight away. I think that he has the pace to get past Gary Croft, so if he cannot make the move, you might want to go to the pits, maybe have some decent clean track, or as clean as possible in front of you, and then go from there and try to jump Gary and maybe get closer to Tony.
Lot of speed carried into Sunset, just running a little bit wide, getting onto those bumps. You've got to make sure you get back to the inside, and he is going to come into the pits.
I am
almost
on
at
a
the
roll.
expense of
Wow.
a couple of cones. Yeah, it's honest, so you know what you're talking about, Marco.
Yeah. Also, Adam McNally, Oculus Rift problems due to the severe heat in the UK, I would imagine. He was lamenting some fogging of the visor, which I know can be a real problem, especially in these months of the year. So he had no idea where he was going, basically. So, for each of the 3 races, he had a fantastic opening quarter of an hour, and then, it was less than ideal after that. Look at McKnight, had a great pit stop.
Yeah, he's closer.
And he gained around 2 seconds in that, 2 seconds and a half on Tony Klosterman, cone to cone. So that was a great stop from McKnight. And, I think the fight might be on for the race lead. If McKnight can, now he has an objective, he has Tony in front of him. Tony is very quick, but maybe McKnight can, be even more motivated now that he sees the driver of NQR right in front of him.
Yeah, he's also got to make sure that he jumps Gary Croft, who you'd expect will come into the pits on this lap, try to cover off his main rival. You do wonder though, maybe if McKnight had carried on going for a few more laps, and say Croft wasn't a thing, and he'd been able to have some clean air, maybe would have been able to put even more pressure on Klosterman. But as it is, he's still in a better position than he was a few minutes ago. 2 seconds behind. And of course, he did start about 4 places behind him.
Yeah, I mean, if Croft is not there, I'm pushing even more if I am, if I'm McKnight. But with Croft being there and Croft, not being easy to pass, he had to take the pit stop, and here comes Gary Croft. So Peter Bingham will following into the pits. I think we are getting, to the point of no return. Kujak has more fuel left, so he continues and leads. Won't lead the lap, I think, because of where Croft was in the pits. And here comes Klosterman then.
Looks like McKnight's going to be way ahead of Croft. What has happened to Gary Croft there?
Yeah, very long stop.
Yeah, 6 seconds longer than the others, so putting a bit of excess fuel, you'd think. He's now behind Moons, who hasn't pitted yet.
Oh!
And Moons almost dropping the car there. Couldn't have been the fact that he changed tyres, could it?
I shall tell you straight away.
Because we really need those animated pit crews that
yes.
NASCAR guys have. Although you can only see it for your car, I believe. I don't think you can see it for other drivers, but that needs to be added because it would help us significantly. He's certainly on the jacks there.
Maybe let's get a better replay. See if his car gets dropped. Yes.
Yeah.
Good spot there, Sam.
And I assume Klosterman and Co didn't take tyres.
No.
I'm surprised they didn't, I must say. But maybe, I don't know. To be fair, I say, can you go back? I can go back personally, and we won't have to show a replay, and I can just figure out for myself whether or not Klosterman took tyres. Because that would explain why they've been pitting quite so early.
Croft, in the meantime, with his fresh tires, gets past Ronald Moons and up into P4. As Michael Frost is off entering the Allman Straight, so let's recap the pit situation. Oh, wow! And that's a massive hit for Michael Frost, and he is out of the race. So the only driver that still has to pit is Ronald Moons. Let's see, Michael Frost seemed to have the situation under control after his mistake. That wasn't the case, obviously, because he then smacked into the wall. So massive understeer going back into the Allman Straight. Gets back onto the racing surface, or tries to, and maybe a bump in the grass. No, car veered straight to the left, so an hardware issue, I might imagine. And that was that for him. Maciej Kuziak also, of course, together with Moons, the other driver that has yet to stop and is still in the lead, even though he will relinquish it to Tony Klosterman very soon. Less than 15 minutes away from the end of the feature race tonight in this media day for Season 7 of the Racetech Euro V8 Supercar Series. Brought to you by Apex Racing. Don't forget, in 2 weeks' time, the first round of the championship. The first points-paying round of the championship, of course, it's coming your way. Usually we start straight away, but we are taking a 2 weeks break between the media day and the start of the season, and you don't want to miss that round, of course, because we are going to be in a say a track that always provides for some interesting racing. It's Interlagos, and a track where I don't recall ever commentating on the Euro V8s. A track that really gives great racing with any kind of car as Kuja goes in, but especially, the Euro V8s race fantastic everywhere. So Interlagos, a track that really can make any car race great as well. So it's going to be quite interesting. So Kujak is in. The other driver we are missing from the pit lane is Ronald Moons. And he stays out for a bit more.
Yeah, likes like he sets tires or something. I went back to Klosterman and McKnight's pit stops. They both went on the jacks. So maybe they didn't change all 4 tires. I assume they did change all 4 tires though. So maybe something else for Cook. Maybe it was just lots of fuel after all. But that would explain why Klosterman pitted quite slowly. He wanted to pit at the halfway stage, so he did the same amount of laps on each set of tires. It certainly would make sense. Because in this car, unlike many others, such as the GTEs, you can take fuel and tires simultaneously. So if you can, if the fuel time is long enough, you may as well take fresh tires, because it's not really any penalty to you whatsoever. Currently 3 seconds between the top 2. By the way, it's can't just maintain McKnight not making too much of an impression. Back with this battle though, Hoffman versus O'Connor. We just saw Hoffman make a mistake and O'Connor trying to pounce on that. Has Hoffman pitted yet?
Yes,
Yes,
he
he has. So what happened to O'Connor earlier on? Because he was doing pretty well.
Remember, he lost the car and crashed.
Yes, good point. That old thing crashing.
No, with 3 races and, especially this one very long, and, this being the first race after a little bit of a layoff for us in the series, it is, I think you can forgive our little... oh, and Bobby Childs is around. North American driver. Man, the cameras are shocking at this particular racetrack.
They really are. It's one of the older circuits on iRacing, but you do question
what were they thinking?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably not the easiest circuit in the world. You've got a few awkward kind of run-off areas and stuff, but well, Bobby Childs maybe spin there. Maybe we can't quite appreciate it there. As Woodward versus Moons. Moons hasn't pitted still. It seems like he's not going to take tyres. If he does, then I'd be surprised. Is he into the pits? That was the move. Apologies, that was a replay. Didn't realise that. But Moons is quite considerably off the pace. If I was him, Mark, I'd kind of pick now because he's losing quite a bit of time just having people overtake him, kind of.
Yes, let's see on board with the Belgian driver and see, the way he's struggling with the steering wheel and of course having see to feather the throttle. Look at that, the way he's fighting with that car. I don't know if he's trying a no-stopper, but either way, I don't think that is going to pay off in the end. And now it's a situation of damage limitation, basically. Going into the pits, I think, changing the tires and hope for the best. Certainly would be super fast in these final few minutes, but still, it's not what you want to do, as also Bingham has gone a bit wide. Now it's my time to say what happened to him, because why is Tononi down to P11?
Yeah.
Maybe a pit stop penalty?
Yeah, the very long pit stop, 40 seconds.
Yeah.
It was 30 seconds. Which isn't just a penalty, that's like penalty, an extra set of tyres, some extra fuel. So something went very wrong for him in that pit stop. He is 12 seconds behind Pete Bingham. So it looks as though he's going to stay in that 11th place to the end of the race. Only 8 minutes to go. This time's been gone by pretty quickly compared to the other two.
It seems to me like there's a bit of I wouldn't say fog, but a little bit of haze dropping on the racetrack, especially if you look at the distance as Moose still trying and this
You
time
don't
he
think he's
cannot
trying a
defend.
zero stopper, do you?
Oh, Tony! Wow, that's
Ooh.
not recommended. And good for him. He had 4 seconds over Jimmy McKnight because, I mean, if you do a no-stopper, you get mentioned in the review at the end of the season. So
I do.
that was a
I
big
mean,
mistake from Tony.
I might post something on the Apex Racing TV Facebook page if you can do a no stopper. Like a concentration, you think there from Tony?
Possible, especially with such a big gap. Jimmy McKnight, of course, is close to his pace, to Tony's pace, but not, equal right now. So Tony certainly, if he keeps the concentration down for these final 6 minutes and change, he can get home safe in the lead, but no more mistakes like this because it cost him quite a bit of time as we are running on board with him as we head into Sunset Bend in the sunset as it should be.
Fortunately, none of the I don't know anyone tried quadric cars, but that had quite an annoying sun effect where you were basically blinded by the sun. Was not particularly good fun. There were some options to go turn it off, but all the effects on that game were a little bit extreme. But iRacing, very realistic in terms of its graphics. It's kind of realistically dull, it must be said. Everything's kind of quite kind of bland in terms of the colors. Oh, well, O'Connor, I think he's going to try to let Hoffman go. And, well, that's the gentleman within Lane O'Connor there. They're fighting over 13th and 14th position, which are the last positions out of the runners. And O'Connor in the XBR racing team doing a very courteous job.
And they have been very close for the past 3 or 4 laps. Super close O'Connor, trying to get past Hoffman, but he wasn't able to make the move. So maybe he tried a little bit of a lunge there. Of course, we've seen the driver struggle under braking today. So, yeah, good sportsmanship there from Lane O'Connor to let Andrew Hoffman by. And let's see. It wasn't a particularly hard hit, so maybe these cars are okay and they will fight again as we head into the final 5 minutes, Sam, of the media day. And as per usual, after each media day, we have no idea about the balance of power that for the season that is coming, especially because we are missing as O'Connor goes by. We are missing, 2 of the favorites, of course, Nicole Foggy and Johnny Brandon. But the best thing that we can have, I think the best takeaway we can have, and that's very encouraging. We are having some good showing from Gary Croft, good showing from Juan Pablo Tononi, one of the rookies. Ronald Moons having a good showing as well. Adam McNally, sadly, with some issues after the 50-minute marks, but if he can just postpone his issues for a few minutes when the race counts for real, he can really be a force to be reckoned with, especially in the shorter races. And as the season progresses, he will become quicker and quicker in even the feature races and maybe also in the enduros. So always nice to have some new drivers in the series, and we are expecting more of them coming. Of course, Dave Jansen didn't race because of heat problem, and I once again completely agree with him. And it's a non-championship race, so as Moons finally gives up and goes to the pits. So you can afford to skip this one, and then it's back to the real racing in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, of course. Surprised not to see Nikolai Bogotayev here. One of the drivers who has barely missed a round of this championship in recent series, but not around today, unfortunately. The Russian, I believe he is. But I'm sure he'll be around for the next round as Hoffman is off. And O'Connor, it's safe to say he's quite far ahead now. Hoffman still driving on the grass.
Bingham is having some massive connection issues. He disappeared for... and he keeps disappearing, as you can see, he's not coming back. So Clyde Whiting is in a very tough predicament. Because he is fighting with a ghost right now. At the same time, Anthony Woodward is defending from Sam Busin for P5 and P6. Let's go on board with the ISIA racing driver.
Just gained 1 second on Woodward. Busan was pretty quick on that last lap, only a couple of tenths slower than the race leaders. So the race really coming to him in these latter stages. Half a minute off the race lead, which is pretty competitive, it must be said. 40 minutes, and Klosterman, was pretty much ahead of him within the first few corners after a bit of a poor start from Busan. And so clearly a bit of improvement there for the ASEA Racing driver, who unfortunately had to miss much of last season, I think due to the ASEA Endurance series, featuring like the LMP1, the P2 and GTE, I believe. And hopefully that was a success, but good to see him back today, and hopefully he will be taking part in the full season. We need Dominic Sori, though, back. Those two, the dream team. Well, Busan still quarter of a second behind.
Tony got to the start-finish line with 2 minutes and 5 seconds left, lapping in the 2/4. He's going to be very, very close. I don't know if this is going to be the white flag or not. We shall know, I think, when Tony takes the final corner in this particular lap, if we're going to have... sorry for the switch. If we're going to have one more, or if this is the white flag.
Well, he should be okay on fuel, assuming that McKnight took less fuel than him. Busan being shown the exit door there by Woodward. You are not getting past just yet. Croft all of a sudden under big pressure from McClay. That hasn't been a thing for the entire race pretty much, but as he just, waltzed up to the back of him, I think, McClay. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's just slowly taken bit by bit, 9 tenths faster on that last lap. And after that, such a troublesome start, George McClay with a chance at a podium. It's difficult to call a winner from the media day, Marco, but I would say McClay has probably been the winner. If he can get a third place here, that would be 3 podiums. As Tony Klosterman, this is going to be the checkered flag. Tony Klosterman wins at Sebring, race 3 and race 1 go his way, and he has certainly kicked off season 7, potentially as the man to beat. It's going to be McClay in 4th. He can't quite beat Croft. Nice podium there from Gary Croft, finishing only about 10 seconds off the race lead. Nice job from him. Now, Woodward versus Busan. It is very close. There they are. Busan maybe even pushing Woodward round the final corner. He'll get deep into the slipstream, but Anthony Woodward will hang on, and that has been a very good day for him. Busan with a bit of a jiggle across the line. He finishes in 6th place, and apart from that, not really any other battles going on. About 10 seconds between pretty much every driver.
Let's give the bit of camera to Juan Pablo Tononi. He has been absolutely the surprise of the day, in my opinion. Really showing some great pace and great consistency. Too bad for what I think a possible penalty in this final race that cost him when he was in the pits. But he still brings home a top 10, and as per usual, better to make these mistakes now than when there's a points paying races. Ronald Moons, P11, and we are going to have Lane O'Connor in P12, as we already have some drivers lining up for interviews. So we will wait for Lane O'Connor to come home in the beautiful Florida sunset, and I once again tell how spot on this is to the sunset you get in the 12 hours of Sebring in real life. Absolutely amazing job done by iRacing. As here comes O'Connor, and that will be that for race 3. So in just a second we shall give you the final race results for race 3.
Yes, and it's Tony Kloosman winning out, and a very positive day for him. Not the championship favourite, apparently, by any of the drivers, but still will be a force to be reckoned with. Jim McKnight, very competitive second place. Hopefully, he'll be taking part in the majority of season 7. Gary Croft finished in 3rd with George McClay, a very close 4th. Ashley Woodward finished in 5th with Sam Buzan in 6th. There was Maciej Kuzak in 7th, Clyde Whiting 8th, Juan Pablo Tononi in 9th, and Bobby Charles rounding out that top 10. Behind that was Moons and O'Connor, also on the lead lap. And then 1 lap down was Hoffman and Bingham. The retirees were Frost, McNally, and Mason. So, we can always count on Tony Kloosman giving us an interview. And Tony, of course, today doesn't count for any points, but 2 wins. You must be quite pleased with that.
Yeah, very happy with that. Considering I wasn't even supposed to race, I was on holidays, and we cut it short, got back, and just got a little bit of practice in this morning.
Well, that's dedication to the series. Cutting short your holiday. So very much appreciate that one. Sebring today, that race 2 in the hot conditions, it looked really tough just to get the power down out there. Was it difficult for you?
Yeah, Sebring is difficult at the best of time. And then you put some heat on the concrete, and it really makes it tough. But we had a little incident there on the first corner, and it put us at the back. So anyway, it set us up good for the last race, and I was very pleased with pace all the way around. So looking forward to the season starting.
Yeah, definitely. We did see a small mistake from you in that 3rd race, just down at the hairpin, just outbreaking yourself a little bit. Was that just kind of a small lack of concentration? Because you seem to have Jamie covered for pretty much that entire race.
Yeah, I'm blaming Clyde for that, because Clyde was describing his off-track excursions just previously, and I was laughing so hard I missed my braking points.
Well, no driver could be vulnerable to that one. But next 2 weeks' time, we head to Interlagos. I have never commentated on a V8 supercar race round Interlagos. When was the last time the series visited there?
I think the official series was there last year, but I don't believe that this series has ever been to Interlagos. It's not a track I'm fond of. The very first corner is very difficult, and the start of the race that could be pretty exciting, that first corner.
Yeah, should be very good fun. That we wish you the best of luck for that race, Tony. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, big shout out to Racetech for coming on board and sponsoring the series. Certainly appreciate them coming on. Never Quit Racing, our team. Everybody works really hard and works well together. Some good results from Matt Woodward and Gary Croft today, so pleased with that. See, Clyde was in the top 10 a couple of times, so he's got to be happy. And Pete had a bit of bad luck with a disconnection in the last race. Otherwise, he was set up very well. Thanks for doing the broadcast, guys. You guys always do an admirable job, and I'm sure the people at home are enjoying it.
Well, thank you very much, Tony. Good luck for next week, and we'll see you then.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
So that was double race winner, double championship winner, Tony Kloosman there. Marco, who are we going to have a chat with next?
Let's get Andrew Hoffman. Why not? Hello, Andrew.
Oh, hello. How are you guys?
Doing fine. Nice to have you in the booth. And especially we caught many glimpses of you, especially in this 3rd race. You had a very nice fight. At the back end of the field with Lane O'Connor. A couple of contacts here and there. Very nice sportsmanship between the two of you. How has the race day gone for you tonight?
I really enjoyed it. I'm going to need a shower though. But yeah, no, I enjoyed that race. Me pace is coming along. As the race goes on, I seem to be able to hold my speed through the race. So pretty happy with that.
And of course, this is not your first season. You have several seasons under your belt. What are your hopes for the upcoming season that's starting in 2 weeks?
Actually, I've got no hopes. I've finished in the top 10, so I'm happy just with this. Anything that happens during the year, if I get a top 10 through there, I'll be ecstatic.
And the first round of the season will be in Interlagos. How do you feel about that particular racetrack?
That's a pretty slippery track. Times the private sessions I'm practicing have gone pretty well, but race day's race day. It can throw anything up, and we'll see what happens.
Well, Andrew, thank you very much for joining us in the booth. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yes, yourselves, Clyde and Racetech for coming on board. Really, really happy to hear about them joining.
Thank you very much, man, and we shall catch you in a couple of weeks' time then.
You surely will.
And that was Andrew Hoffman for Slow Motion Racing. And now, who are we going to get, Sam?
Well, we'll have a chat with Sam Buzan because it's fantastic to see Sam back into the series. And Sam, decent results today, and a very good battle right at the end with Anthony. You just couldn't quite get past him in the end.
Hello guys. Yeah, it was a great battle with Anthony. I'm glad to come back in the V8 and to have some battles with these guys. It's always fun.
Yeah, definitely. You seem to be kind of involved in a lot of incidents. What happened at the starts of race 3? You seem to just struggle to get off the line a little bit.
Yeah, I've really struggled at the start of race 3. Just can't find the grip at the start, and then at turn 2, just missed the braking. I didn't take count of the cold tires, so it was a bit unexpected, but great recovery at the end of the race, I think.
Yeah, definitely. You seem to have a lot of pace at the end of the race. Was that just due to maybe your tyre management or what? Because you seem to be about even on pace with Anthony for the entire day, and then all of a sudden you seem to be catching him by about a second a lap.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's the tire management this time. I was very soft on tires all the second part of the race 3 to try to keep these tires good and try to catch Ant at the end of the race. And it's happened, but I wasn't able to pass him.
And next week we head to Interlagos. Do you think you're going to be able to do the entire season? And what do you think about Interlagos in 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, definitely. We are going to race all the season with them. He will come back in 2 weeks' times. I was not able tonight due to the heat and so on. But yeah, we will be there at Interlagos. We don't really know the track. We ran just a bit in the prototypes, so it's gonna be a difficult race for us, I think, and maybe a bit slower than usual.
Well, it's fantastic to have Asia back into the UV8 Supercar series, so thanks for that. And before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
First, you guys for the broadcast. We're really looking forward to see it tomorrow. Of course, the admins, Racetech, to sponsor the series. Our main sponsor, Asia, and I think it's over for me. It's all I have to say. Yeah.
Thanks, Sam, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, see you in 2 weeks.
So that was Sam Buzan there for CEO Racing. Good to hear that Dom's story as well. We'll be back in a couple of weeks' time. Marco, who are we going to have a chat with next?
Let's have a chat with series newcomer, Bobby Childs. Hello, Bobby.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Doing fine. Of course, you are a veteran of the Rick Mutek series, so it was surprising and very interesting to see you make the switch to the V8. So how has it been this first round for you?
It was absolutely amazing. These guys really know what they're doing. Their league is structured very similar to the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series. Um, kind of the same things going on. Drivers willing to help you out. All about the competition, and I was able to learn a lot and have a really good time.
What was the main difference, between your time in Ricmotech, on the track, and with the Euro V8 tonight?
Well, the main difference is, of course, the car. And the Ricmotech series, of course, I drive a Mazda, and then for the World Challenge, I drive the Mercedes. And this car is like the combination of the two. It's the all the horsepower of the Mercedes with no stability control on the Mazda tires. So it took a lot to get it under control. These guys were just leaving me behind when it came time to get on the throttle because I just couldn't put it down the way they could. And then I don't know if you guys caught it. I kind of spun myself out one time, just barely putting my foot on the gas. The thing went right around. But I think this is a great experience for me, and it's going to translate into my car control abilities in the other series.
And of course, in a couple of weeks, we will be racing at Interlagos. I want to ask you if you're going to be there, and in a broader perspective, if you are, you know, if you have the idea to run the entire season.
Yeah, at this point, I am planning to run the entire season. Our team, D2D Esports, has decided to run the Bathurst 1000 this year. So, of course, this is a great way to learn the car and get ready for Bathurst. The more knowledge and experience you have of the car, the better you're going to be. So, I'm actually going to try to get a couple more of the D2D guys to come over here and race with us. And I will definitely be back. I'm going to try to be here for the full season.
Well, thank you very much, Bobby. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, of course, I always want to thank Deb, Jim, and Andrew List, who helped put D2D together. And they run the real life D2D motorsports team that supports us so much. And I want to send a big shout out to Tony Klusterman, who pointed this league out to me and brought me in here. I've absolutely loved my first event. And then, of course, to you guys here at Apex, it's an outstanding job. You guys have just been getting better and better, and best of luck to you guys in the future.
Thank you very much, Bobby, and I think we shall catch you on Monday night, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I will actually be not attending Belle Isle in the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. I've got some things I need to get done for Extreme as part of my league duties, so I'm taking that as a drop.
Okay, so well, I think to be sure we shall catch you uh, in a couple of weeks' time for Interlagos. So you have quite some time to prepare and get ready. That is going to be a great race, I think.
Most definitely. I'll see you guys then.
That was Bobby Childs, of course. Nice to have him here. Veteran of the Ricmotech series, like I said many times. So we are going to get, I think.
Oh dear, I was going to
Yeah,
have a chat with Anthony Woodward,
yeah,
but
because
no.
I was leaving the boss for last, but we shall take him now. Clyde Whiting there.
But
Oh,
Yes, and
hello.
he rudely interrupts. We're really good at that. Clyde, decent results today. I think you got a couple of top tens, and we're in the midst of some pretty epic battles there.
Yeah, there was some really great battle in every race, to be honest. We had a few people couldn't join in for race 2, so I actually quit the session to try and see if I could sort anything out. By the time I got back in, there was like 3 seconds to green, and I had no fuel in the car. I had the broadcast playing, so I could hear you guys talking about what was happening 30 seconds ago, and yeah, that was terrible.
Well, he still recovered pretty well for that race 3 from 16th on the grid to finish in 8th place. But a lots of mistakes seemingly out there for drivers. Was it as difficult? Did you find it difficult to drive out there?
It's the track. Whenever we go to Sebring, it's concrete and it's hot and it's sweaty and for me, my braking points were changing on every lap depending on the grip level. So it's so easy. A lot of the corners on that track just suck you in, and you think you can go fast around them, and you can't. And it is really, really easy to make a mistake.
And looking forward to the rest of the season. A few minor tweaks to the championship involving like the reverse grids and the format of the races. Anything that you think will be a particular improvement to the championship for season 7?
Definitely the reverse wheel. Obviously, you guys picked it up last season. We had the what we're calling the Evdoka boozing effect. For the trying to be the last person on the lead lap for the third race. So we will we'll use the wheel for the second race and the third race in the super sprints, and hopefully that will put a stop to that. Apart from that, just minor things. We always take on board what the drivers tell us during the season and during the off season. And if, as an admin team, we think it's a good idea, then we try and implement it. If it doesn't work, we can drop it again. And if most of the suggestions we have do work, so we're continually trying to improve the league and just make the racing better and the viewing better as well for the people watching the streams.
Yeah, definitely. We certainly appreciate that one, Clyde. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Obviously, Racetech, our new sponsor. You guys, for what you do. My teammate Pete Bingham, who had an unfortunate disconnect in race 3. I think we was gonna have a fairly epic battle for the last 2 laps. Bill couldn't make it tonight. He's up north. And just thanks to all the drivers for turning up, and all the admins, and for everybody for making this league as good as it is.
Thanks, Clyde, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, see you later, guys.
So that was Clyde Whiting, Supreme Overlord of the Racetech UOV8 Supercar Series. And Marco, that pretty much rounds us off. Of course, a pretty long day in the booth after the Sim Racers Asia earlier on, and then of course this especially long race today with the 3 events. But well, like you said earlier on, it's so difficult to draw any conclusions from the media day. But well, if we didn't know already, we know that it's going to be a very competitive season 7 once again.
Yes, I cannot wait. I cannot really wait. And like I said, Interlagos is going to be an exciting racetrack to have our first points paying round of the season, just 2 weeks away. And in the meantime, of course, you can enjoy all the other series. Racetech, like we said earlier with Bob, is going to be between Monday and Tuesday at night, but before that at 7:15 GMT we are going to have the MX5 Monday series. Tuesday 10:45 GMT, the official IMSA series Oceanic Strength of Field race. Then later in the night at 6 PM GMT we are going to have the official VRS GT Sprint series. Then at 7:15 again on the Racing Esports Network, it's going to be the MX5 Pro Series. On Wednesday, of course, the penultimate round of Dynamics GT3 Sim Racers World Series, that will be from Monza at 7 GMT, that one. And on Thursday, BSRTC will be back 7:15 GMT. And then on Friday, of course, the Le Mans Series with Sam Kumo and maybe even Sam Fitzpatrick again. That broadcast, I have to say, super entertaining as per usual in Interlagos yesterday. Okay, and always some big numbers, so that is always great. And then on Saturday, back for Sim Racers Asia that will be at 13 GMT, and so I think that yeah, this is it for what's coming up in the next few days, Sam, and certainly a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, the main thing to look forward to is, of course, Season 7 of the Racetech Year V8 Supercar Series, which we will be bringing live to you in 2 weeks' time from Interlagos. But from me and from Marco and from the team at Apex Racing TV, for now, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you next time.